This is a brief recording on what to do, how to get started for a brand new event. This one is a team fundraiser event and just going to help you get started. Once you log into the site, click on the admin button, go to the page admin section, and from here on the page admin menu, there's a few things you might want to take a look at first. The look and feel will determine the color of like these menu bars and a few other things within the site. You can just click on this and go through and play with these, see if there's a color theme that seems to go well with the colors that you want to use for your event. I'm just going to use the background style as transparent for now, but you can make that a solid color. You can make it a gradient color where it fades from one color to another color. You can put an image in the back. You have a lot of versatility here, but like I said, for now, I'm just going to leave this transparent. And then I'm just going to save that. But you can see when I changed that to blue opal, it made my menu bars have a blue background to them. So go through that, play with the look and feel, and see what type of menu bars and things like that you want your stuff to look for. The widget default, I usually recommend that you set up before you get started as kind of a basic foundation. I think it's a really good place to start. Sometimes you set up a bunch of widgets one day and then you may come back 3 or 4 days later and want to add another widget and you can't always remember exactly what color combination you used. And those little boxes, it's kind of hard to remember sometimes. So it just saves some time, I believe. So you can determine where it's going to go. I just leave it as left column. And then all devices, I just leave it again as all devices. When I make my widgets, I can always change these things. So I just kind of leave these kind of generalized. In this one, I like to put title in both borders because I set these up for my stat boxes basically, and then I edit them from there. So I've already selected my border color to be this blue color. Minimum height is 50. That's kind of a good height for most of your widgets to be. You don't want them to, if you leave that blank, sometimes they don't always size quite correctly. So I like to put just a number in there. Don't make it too big because your widgets will be huge and oversized. 50 seems to be a good number. And then I just usually do top and bottom margins. I usually leave this blank and I fill that in as I create a widget. Title color, I'm going to leave white. And then I selected my font, my size, and my weight of, how heavy it is. I want it to be bold in my title. And then my title background, I'm going to do the same color as my border. Again, I'm just going to do a transparent background, and then I'm going to save that. So then when I make a widget here in a little bit, it'll have all those basic information, and I can kind of customize that as we go. There'll be another video on how to create pages. If you have a lot of information that you don't want to put on your home page because it might clutter your page, you can actually create a second page and then they can click on a link and it'll take them to the other page and show them all that different information. So depending on what kind of information you want to share. The sections are the header section, the body section, and the footer section. You can actually create additional sections. Some of the reasons you might want to do that is in the body section, sometimes you might want some information to be in like 2 columns, and then down below you might want something to be just 1 column that goes all the way across, and then you might want another section with like say three columns or whatever. You can go back and forth and make those however you need to kind of get the look that you want to do with the site. The menu, there'll be another video on how to make the menus for these. So for now, I'm just going to go to the body section because that's where the bulk of your content is going to be for your event. So click on Edit Section, and you want to click on the section that you want your widgets to go into. So if I click on Edit Section here for the header, my widgets are all going to go in this section. So that's why I'm going to click on this section, Edit, and we're going to go into the widget gallery, and we're going to make a couple of widgets and put them on our page. I made this widget earlier. This is a goal chart, and you can see here it's not in use because it's not actually on my home page, and that'll make a little bit of sense to you when we get going. Once you get to the widget gallery, these are going to be all the widgets that you made previously and have in use. When you want to make a new widget, you're going to go up here to Create Widget, and we're going to, some of these widgets are ready-made, like the goal chart and the top teams. They're just easy. You just basically customize them for what you want them to do. Things like the text widget and the slideshows, they're a lot more open and you don't have quite as much flexibility with them. So like I said, I made the goal chart. We'll just make a top teams menu now. A lot of groups use that. I'm going to call it my top teams by volume of dollars. And I'm going to leave it top title in both borders because it's one of my stat boxes and I like those to have that. For the title, I'm going to say Top Fundraising Teams. That's what's actually going to show in the title of my widget. I'm going to leave all these things the same as I set them up for my default. And so I'm just going to click Save. And then here I have the choice of changing this if I want to mount or by members or whatever, but I'm going to leave that the same. Your list size can be anywhere from 1 to 50. 10 is a good size. It doesn't take up a ton of room, but it's got a good, your top 10 people. So we'll go ahead and use that, and I'll just click Insert. And when I click Insert, it's going to put it into my section. Now, one of the things that you can do at this point, you can do it at any point. I probably would have done it earlier if I'd have thought about it. But if you go to the section Look and Feel, you can determine in each section I mentioned earlier, you could have 1 column, 2 columns wide on the left, wide on the right, or 3 columns. For this example, I like to do 2 columns wide on the left. And I'm going to make my section just a little bit bigger, because when it's an entire section, you want it big enough to put a bunch of widgets in and have them all show up. For the most part, if you make it too big, you can always go back and change it down a little bit. It'll just have a bunch of white space around it. But usually I just kind of guesstimate 200, 300, things like that, and it'll kind of size itself. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And when I do, this is going to shrink this. It was all the way across because it was 1 column, but now it's fitting it in 2 columns, wide on the left, 1 on the right. These little caret directional arrows will help you move these widgets around. Let's put another widget on here just so you can see. So the goal chart that I already made, as you can see, it's not in use. This one is in use. It's on your home page. We're going to click Open. And before you want to do it, if you want to change anything, you can change the look and feel, you can change the wording, whatever you want to do here. You can change the content of it. Again, these, you could change this to runners if you were having a 5K or whatever. So you can make those changes before you insert it if you want to, and then you can just insert it. And then once it's inserted, it always goes to the left on the bottom, just kind of defaults down there. Once it's on your page, you can also open it, do your look and feel, configure, even just take it out of that section. Say, for example, you put it in the header section and you meant to put it in the body section. You just remove it from the section, go back to the widget gallery and bring it back in. So that's just some basic things you can do. For this one, if you want to move them around, you just click this and it'll move it around. This one, we're going to move it over there and it'll put it down in the bottom. Let's make another widget. A widget that a lot of people use as a text widget. This one, we're going to call it Event Info. And the widget name is just for you to know what it is. I would recommend that you give your widgets names, because next year, if you use the site again, you can actually go in and copy widgets from last year, and you'll want to have them named so you don't have to open each one of them to find out what it is before, whether or not you want to copy it. So that's just a time saver. Again, I'm going to use all the same information. Here, I want it to say event details. Let's go with that. And again, I'm going to leave all this the same. Just click Save. Here you can insert pictures from the image gallery. If you click on this, any images that you've uploaded by clicking Add Image, you can click on Add Image, and then you can select your files from your computer. Upload those into there, and then return to the gallery, and your pictures will be in here. You can actually edit your pictures in here. Some of this is on another video that's actually on here, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. So don't want to add any images here. You can make a hyperlink if you want to link to another web page or someone's email address or whatever. You can make a hyperlink there. You can make your own buttons. We're going to make a register and donate button in a few minutes, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But you can create your own buttons if you want to dress up your page and have them linked to things. Buttons are kind of cool. I really like the buttons. You've got your basic editing features here that you can use. I am just going to type a little bit just to kind of get something on the page. And okay, and we'll call that good. Sorry, it's not supposed to be there. And this is just information, on my widget. So I'm going to put that in there, and then I'm going to make one more widget for you just to kind of show you. This is a widget a lot of people use. It's the register donate buttons. And again, it's a preset widget, so there's not so much you have to do. I'm just going to go with that. On this one, actually, I don't want my buttons to have a title and a border around them, so I'm going to go in and turn those off. And I'm just going to save them. And then it's going to ask me what colors. And I'm going to leave one of my buttons yellow, and I'm going to make one of them my blue color to match the rest of my site. And then we'll insert these. And there's my register and donate buttons. And again, you can change the text color, you can change the borders, you can change the color of your boxes, so you can change those around however you want to. I just went with the white writing because it matches the other boxes. You can make them the same color, you can do whatever you want. When anybody clicks on these from now on, they'll take them right to the registration page, right to the donation page. These are great for mobile devices. When somebody goes to the mobile device, the menu that usually has register and donate on them turns into that little hamburger, the 3 little lines up in the corner. And this just makes it really clear. Here's where you click to register. Here's where you click to donate. So we want it to be no-brainer for everybody to be able to sign up for your event. So like I said, you can just move things around, do whatever you want to, put them however you want to put them in here. And then when you're done, you just exit the section. And then if you exit admin, you can see it without all of the stuff around and kind of see how your page is going to look. There's nothing here now, but there could be the header section above this, and then there could be a footer section down below this, and you could put a lot more information in here. And like I mentioned before, you can do multiple sections. You can have, like here, for example, if you wanted to have something that went all the way across, you could have some information that went all the way across the page. Or if you wanted to do a bunch of stat boxes, do top fundraising team by volume and top fundraising team by amount of money that they raised, you could put different stat boxes across here and do 3 columns. It's whatever works for you and works well for you. You can always go to our homepage, easyeventsolutions.com, and click on events, and that will show you some of the events that other people have done. And so you can just click on those events and it'll click view. It'll take you right to their event, and you can see and look around and see how some other people have set up their pages if you need some ideas to get started. So anyway, the page is gone. So I think this is a good place to stop.